What's up,
Hey, you're back.
George?
What is
Yeah.
up? What is up?
Woo-hoo. Happy day. Happy day for
Happy
sure.
days. It's Thursday.
It is.
Thursday's a great day. Monday's a great day. Tuesday's a great day.
Every
Every day's a great
day is a great day. Any day that ends in day is a great day.
Exactly.
You had to
So
think
I
about
thought we'd
that, didn't
start day. No, yeah. I mean,
you? You had to make sure
what
that every
about?
day of the week had day in it. I saw in your head.
Nah, nah. There's a couple days in the week that don't have day in it.
Not sure what days those are.
It's just a few, like Fribu and like
Maybe in different
Venti.
languages.
No, in English. In English. I've got a great question here from Ask the Public that I've
Uh-oh.
been wanting to ask people for a while. Um, the on Ask the Public, I don't know if the search terms come out incorrectly sometimes or whatever, but this is the question: It's who is a real estate bubble?
Who is a
Who
real
is?
estate?
Who
Who
is a
is?
real estate bubble? That has been
Uh,
searched apparently 200,000 times.
maybe who has a real estate bubble?
No, who is a real estate bubble? Is it
Oh
you?
man, no,
It is a tricky one
definitely
to
not.
start with.
Yeah, I don't. That's a very interesting question because I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, who is a real estate bubble? Um, I guess are they like looking at markets? Are they looking at? That's weird.
They're
I don't know about that
well,
one.
okay. The benefit of the doubt, they definitely mean what is a real estate bubble. So, is that
Oh,
something more answerable?
yes, very much so. Do
Okay.
you want to re-ask the question?
I'm just in a silly, funky, goofy mood.
Woo! You and me both. Let's go.
Okay. Hank, what is a real estate bubble?
Oh, real estate bubble. There we go. So real estate bubble can be defined as a couple different things, but for me, when I hear real estate bubble, that is overinflated prices, and then when it gets too big, what happens to a bubble? It's gonna pop, right? And when it pops, everything comes crashing down, prices and investment opportunities go up. So, there's a lot of people still think it's, 2007, 8, 9, 10, where we actually leading up to it. So let's start at the beginning 2003, 4, 5, and 6. The bubble was growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And people had not just one home, but two and three and four and five homes. And the plan was, to rent them out and make as much money. Well, then all of a sudden, pop happened and everything just crashed. It went down. I mean, people lost everything, and so it was tough. And you give it maybe 18 months later, and that's when investors swooped in and just started buying properties for basically nothing. I mean, if you think about it, these people spent example $250,000 in a house. These investors were picking them up for anywhere from 30 to 70,000 in the in the
Right.
in the crash. And
And
then the market went.
yeah, well, that was a very, very extreme circumstance. To the best of your knowledge, what actually happened in 2008?
So the best of my knowledge was there's a movie actually called The Big Short,
Hell
and if
yeah,
you
it's a great
watch it,
movie.
oh, you've seen it?
Margot Robbie in a bathtub explaining to you something about bonds and I don't know, bubbles.
Oh my gosh, The Big Short was awesome. It's a great movie. For those who haven't seen it, it's the three groups of people that actually figured out we were going to crash before we actually did crash. Great cast in there, by the way, and pretty much based on the true story of what really happened. But yeah, there was a lot of different factors to where you could go and pledge a mortgage on several properties, and basically you didn't need anything. You didn't have to have any paperwork, no turning in of docs, no assets, anything. And you could have a couple different homes, and then what they were basing it on was the rental income. Is that going to pay for the mortgage? The other problem was that a lot of people were taking arms. For those who don't know what arms are, it's an adjustable rate mortgage. And so what they were doing was they were calling a a 327 or a 228. And what that means is, let's take a 327 for example. So most mortgages are done on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Well, 327 is 3 years fixed and then 27 years of adjustable. Okay. So what happened was these people took them, they were renting them, or they were owning them, not understanding that after the 2 or 3 years of that fixed rate, that boom, they were going to get hit and their rate would just go through the roof. And one of the other problems was there was no rate caps at all. So in other words, you could have a let's call it a 4% fixed rate for the first 3 years, and then
Mm.
after that, the next year could go to 5.5. And the next year, like 8.5, and then 12.5. There was no cap to where it could only go up like a quarter of a point, and so these people were quickly outpriced where they had a fixed rate, let's call it $1,200 a month. And then after the 3 years, now they're at $2,500 a month. And then 2 months later, they're now at $3,800 a month. And then 6 months later they're at $5,000 a month, and these people can't afford it. These are working class people, and they took these loans, but they were never explained to them. Because they wasn't explained to them, they didn't know how these things work. They didn't know that, hey, after 3 years that they're going to have this adjustable rate. The other thing was there was a ton of promises that were like, hey, you know what, you're going to have this 327, it'll be fixed for 3 years, and then before it goes to the variable rate, okay,
Hmm.
refinance, you'll get a 30-year fix. Well, the problem is right when they were all ready to refinance, pop, the bubble went out. It just burst. It grew too big, and we went into this big recession, and home prices plummeted. People lost everything. People lost jobs. They lost their house. They lost their cars. They lost everything. They could not afford it anymore. Um, and that big promise of, hey, you can refinance. Well, when they went to refinance or work with their bank, the bank said, no, we don't want anything to do with it. We're not going to refinance you. What we're going to do is we're going to foreclose on you and take back the property. And that's what happened.
That's terrible.
Sad.
Very sad.
Yep.
It seems to
There's a
me,
lot of conspiracies.
oh, there certainly is. It seems to me that it seems ridiculous that the people who were responsible for this didn't see it coming. The banks coming up with all these different ways of allowing people to take out more and more loans. Like, it just seems like how could you not see that coming?
I think the banks didn't care, to be honest
Right.
with you. Not that they couldn't see it, but I mean they were making tons of money.
Hmm.
And because they have the government in their back pocket, the Fed, which a lot of people think the Fed is the government, they're not. The Federal Reserve is the major banks. So JP, Wells Fargo, uh, you know, and the list goes on. So those banks are what controls the money in the system. And when those banks can get all those loans and then retrieve all those properties, they're the ones making money. And because they have the government in their back pocket, and some people are going to think this is super controversial, but it is what it is. They knew, or they had a really good idea, that even if this went wrong, that the government was going to bail them out. And guess what
Hmm.
happened? the government bailed them out, and it was terrible, and out of all of it, there was only one person that ever went to jail and prison. One out of the
Mm.
whole big
Yeah.
scandal that happened. It's just sad, you
Was it
know.
just some
No
random guy?
players of the
No actual
Yeah,
player.
basically it was a fall guy.
Right.
It was an absolute fall guy. But like, the CEOs of these big banks, nothing. They took their bonuses, they got whatever they wanted, and boom, it was them. It was just sad that not a single one of them, except for one fall guy, none of them had to take any accountability for what was happening.
Absolutely nuts.
And who
Absolutely
suffered the
nuts.
most? The, the
Everyone.
the little people are who suffered the most. They lost
Mm.
everything.
Yeah, and it was around the world that was affected. I mean, we had a
Oh
recession
yeah.
in the UK, partly brought on because of that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of world money that came through the United States, even at that time.
Mm.
And so, there was a lot of foreign investors that lost everything too.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Well, that's all I know about that. I'm gonna go watch the movie again.
Yeah, watch the movie again. We'll have a private screening. Let's do it.
Mm. Let's do it. Um, all right. So we're just gonna go back to some of these questions from Ask the Public. I'll choose some that make sense. Um, um, how does real estate depreciation work? Is that something we can answer?
Yeah, yeah, I can answer that. So, real estate depreciation. So a couple different ways that real estate will depreciate. One is going to be that values in an area based on what's called an external obsolescence happens. So this could be the economy dropping. This could be a neighborhood that used to be nice that's now run down, maybe because the city doesn't want to maintain it anymore, or the county doesn't want to maintain it. Um, you know, so that's one type of that properties can depreciate and they could go down, values can go down there. Uh, and any property that you live in right now is depreciating every single year that home is, erected on an improved land, it depreciates, because everything gets older. You've got the concrete block gets older, your pool gets older, your appliances get older, your flooring, everything gets older, and so then you have depreciation that'll happen on the property. Now, the other kind of depreciation that you see is from an investment standpoint. And so the investment standpoint is if you have an investment property, you're allowed to depreciate the value of that property, as well as take expenses against, your taxes. So it works a couple different ways, but one of the ways that investors will do it is you can actually depreciate your property if it's a residential property 27 and a half years. So you can talk to your accountant, you can take the depreciation of that property for the 27 and a half years and use it against your taxes for that property. The only catch is if you sell it within the 27 and a half years, you're going to have to pay it back. So, there's some, but there's ways around it. You can take that property, sell it, invest in another property, and move that depreciation to the new property. Um, you know, it, every single situation is going to be different when it comes to investing. So I always tell everyone I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant. Okay, so you have to talk to your accountant about this before, don't just take my advice on here. But yeah, there's depreciation a couple different ways. And a big one that can help out investors is with their investment property is taking the depreciation on it.
Cool. Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, are you still doing your mentorship and your coaching
Yeah. Yeah. I still mentor, train, and coach agents every single day.
every single day? I love
Every
that.
single day, my phone rings and people want to know, hey, Hank, what about this? Hey, what about that?
Mm.
And I love it though. because
Why do you think
that's one of my,
people
my favorite.
come towards you and gravitate towards you and your coaching?
I think one of the biggest things is my honesty. Number one, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. If you lie to people, the truth will eventually come out, and then your reputation's gone. So my big thing is, especially as I get older, like I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell you how it is. But on the flip side of that, I'm also going to give you the systems and tools and the golden egg to be successful in this real estate business, and then it's on them to actually do it. So, but I'm a very giving person at heart. I will share everything with you. I will share, my successes. I'll share with you my failures, and through that process, hopefully, you're not going to make the same mistakes I am, or you're going to get to the level you want to get to faster because you're actually listening, paying attention, using the systems and tools that have been put in place. So
Right,
that's
right.
kind of how that goes. But integrity is a big thing. Ethics are another thing. I don't stretch those for anything. It's just not worth it. Again, all we have
Mm.
is our reputation. So and people know that. And they get into a deal with us, they know that they're going to get a good agent that knows what they're doing, and they're going to have a great transaction together. So
What do you think are
that's
some of
kind of
the
that.
biggest mistakes that you see new agents making?
Oh man, how many can I list?
As many as you want.
There's a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many mistakes that agents make. Um, I would say first mistake is they think real estate is easy. And here's my thing about it. Real estate is easy. Building a real estate business is hard. So
Okay.
like, and let me break it down for you. So like, for under $2,000, you can get your real estate license, hang out with a brokerage, be part of an MLS association, and be licensed to help people buy and sell real estate in the state of Florida for under 2 grand. Name another profession to where you can own your own business for under 2 grand, right? I don't know really any. So the
Mm.
entry into it is very, very low. And because it's low, it's affordable for people to do it. What they don't understand is that agents think, oh man, my friend's doing it, they're crushing it, they're making $1 million sales here and there, and they're making tons of money, they're buying new cars, and it's just easy. No, they have no clue. It is so hard, especially in the beginning, to build a real estate business. It's not, hey, I'm going to do one transaction and I'm going to take the commission and I'm going to go, buy this or that. That's a huge mistake that they do. Real estate agents, when they take that first or second or third commission, they should be putting it back into their business and helping that business grow. It's a pipeline. The way I equate it is, you know, you've got this closing coming up and you get paid and you're on the top of the wave. Well, if you don't keep investing and keep riding that wave, then what happens? You're going to come crashing down. And now you've got to build it back up to get back up to that top of that wave again. So, for me, it's helping them understand that this is a business. This isn't a hobby. This isn't easy. Um, the process of real estate is easy. Write a contract, connect some vendors, and we can get from A to Z. That's easy to teach. The problem is, how do I get the clientele? How do I lead generate? How do I cold call? How do I door knock? How do I do an open house? How do I tap into my sphere of influence? Like, there's all these other things that these new agents have no clue about. And one of the other problems we have is that these agents need to pick the right brokerage. 100%. And I'm not just sitting here so that, say, come to me. No,
Mm.
they need to find one brokerage that actually fits what they're looking for, what they're looking to accomplish in this business. A lot of new agents, they need the coaching, they need the training, they need the mentoring, they need the hand holding, they need all of this stuff. where some of the other agents are like, oh, I've got this, no big deal. And they go to like 100% company and they get no support. Um, the broker's not available. And the list kind of goes on. They're just kind of like a lone wolf. Well, they're brand new. They have no clue what they're doing.
Mm.
So I always tell them interview at least three companies. That's another mistake agents don't do. They don't interview at least three companies and go out there and see what's available to them, so that they know what they're getting into and they know what kind of support they're going to have and they know what training they're going to have. Um, and that's really another thing that I implore in agents.
Mm. I hear you. I hear you. The you touched a little bit on door knocking and other ways of generating leads. Is that something,
Uh-huh.
the door knocking, the cold calling, is that something you encourage for everyone, or is everybody completely different?
So for me, I actually go by people's personalities.
Mm,
So I will kind of take the lead generation that I believe that they should be doing based on their personality. That's the other thing. People, a lot of people come up to me and be like, Hank, I'm an introvert. I don't know what to do. I just like to sit in the corner. And I'm like, listen, real estate's not for you
mm,
because you have to talk to everyone.
yeah.
Like you just do. You never know. Every single person that you meet is a lead generation opportunity. So going back to your question though, door knocking, open house, whatever it is, that when I first sit with an agent, I gauge their personality. Are they older? So maybe they're not so good with like social media. Are they really young that they would be great with social media? Are they comfortable with talking to people in a grocery line, or at an open house if someone comes in, or are they going to be that kind of reserved, like, here's a piece of paper, show yourself around, so I tailor their lead generation, like I guess we call it a program, to their personality. That's like the only
Mm,
way you can do it. Because for me, I'm not a cold caller. I've tried
mm,
it and I hate it. Why? Because I call and people be like, hey, you're the 20th caller this morning. F you, leave me alone, get rid of my number, whatever. And for me, when I heard F you like 10 times in the morning, I was like, oh man, like
mm,
these people don't even know me. And it would like crush my
mm.
spirit, it would like hurt me. I was like, they don't know me. They don't know what I'm about. They don't know my experience. They don't know how
Yeah.
I can help them because I truly want to help them.
Mm,
So, for me, I learned early on, I'm not a cold caller. I will not do it. Open
right.
houses, yes. Social media, yes. Meeting people at networking events, yes. Restaurants, grocery store, whatever it is, yes to all of them. Cold
Mm.
calling, no. Door knocking, I'm 50-50 on. And I think we've talked about this before. I live in the
Mm,
state of
definitely.
Florida. There's a lot of guns here.
Yeah, that's it, man.
So I don't feel like getting shot.
Yeah, fair play. That's makes sense that it would hurt to do cold calling and get such a negative response, people telling you to fuck off and stuff. Obviously, it works.
Yep.
When I used to do door knocking, selling broadband, it did hurt to get a lot of no's and a lots of fuck off and everything, but it wasn't really me that I was selling. It was this product, this internet. It's not my business, it's this other thing. So it was a bit easier to
Yep.
detach. But being a real estate agent, you really are selling yourself and your business. So yeah, it just makes sense to me that that would suck. But a lot of people do
Yeah.
make it work. So,
Yeah, no, they do.
mm,
And like I said, I just don't have the personality for it.
mm,
You know, a lot of the introverted people that don't want to maybe be live with someone,
mm,
but could be fine on the phone. Perfect. You throw them
mm,
on the phone. They're very robotic, which is great, because you don't want to go off script and they land a lot of leads that way, but again, everybody's personality is different. So, being a coach, being a mentor, being a trainer, it's diving in there, seeing what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, So it's actually SWOT. Have you ever heard of SWOT? SWOT?
Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
Opportunities and threats. Yeah, you got it. So I like to do a SWOT analysis on them, so that helps me gauge, okay, so what are you good at? What aren't you good at? Where's the opportunity for you to put your little peg in this real estate game? Where can you put your niche in? And then, what's a threat to you not succeeding and meeting your goals?
Gotcha.
Nice work
Gotcha.
there, by the way.
What, remembering SWAT?
Yeah.
We're so out of sync on this call right now. I'm about 20 seconds behind you.
What?
Yeah, so
Are
I
you
just spoke
serious?
then, and then it took you about 5 seconds to go, what?
Oh my gosh, no
It's all
way.
right.
Is this
It's
going to
all
be
right.
ruined?
No, no, no. It happens a lot. The podcast and the recording is always fine, but I just adapt to it. Usually it's not as bad as it is now, but you're really quite far behind.
I need to grab my water. Hold
Okay.
on.
Yeah. It's quite funny. Usually it does happen a little bit on every call. So I just roll with it and I just don't say anything until the other person has like been silent for like a second or two.
Well, now
Because
I
if
know.
yeah,
Now I definitely know.
yeah, you can probably see it now.
Yep. Now I
Let me
know.
just
Now we're
make a
good.
little marker there. Just I might cut that bit out. Um, yeah. So okay, back to it. Social media. How important do you think social media is now and in the past for your business? Because you probably weren't using it much when you first started.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I was using it, but I wasn't using it for business. If
Hmm.
anything, the only thing I really had was the Facebook business page, which is not that great, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just the people don't go on Facebook business pages to like find people, or not for real estate services, maybe
Yeah.
for like an ice cream shop
Maybe.
or restaurant, but not for real estate. It's kind of a rare oddity. And the only reason, you wanted a business page back then was so that you could advertise and boost your posts and, do that kind of stuff, target market, because you couldn't do that
Yeah.
with a personal page. That
Right.
was kind of Facebook's way to do that. So but for me, I really kept everything on the business page, which was a detriment because a lot of my personal friends weren't following my business page, and so they really wouldn't see what we were doing in real estate. And that flipped probably about 5 years ago to where I really made it like almost everything go on our personal page. And then I would do the 50-50 rule. And the 50-50 rule is 50% business, 50% personal. And, you know, because at the end of the day, when you're on social media, like people want to know the real Hank. They want to know the real George. They want to see my kids grow up. They want to see our successes. They want us to be vulnerable with our failures. Like they want to see that kind of stuff. And that's what kind of feeds them. But you cannot, here's the mistake. The mistake is you have real estate agents that are like on the personal page, like real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. And it's all real estate in everybody's face. Well, what's going to happen to your friends that don't want to see real estate in their feed every 30 seconds? They're going to unfollow you. They may unfriend you, whatever it may be. And so what we figured out is you have to do the 50-50. You have to do the balance. And
Mm.
if you do that, then, people can see your business side as well as your personal side. And if we had to break it up, it's probably for us maybe 70% personal and 30% business. Um,
Yeah.
but that's how it works with the social media. It wasn't it wasn't all roses in the beginning. And then Instagram came out, and I was like trying to figure that out. And then Snapchat
Hmm.
came out, and I was like, what the heck is this thingy?
Yeah, you don't need that.
And then we got TikTok now.
Mm.
And TikTok, I'm not even on TikTok. We've talked about this. Like,
Mm.
I would just go down so many TikTok holes that I would get lost for probably like days, bro. You'd see me like not showered and, stinky hair everywhere, haven't brushed
It
my
does have the
teeth,
best
haven't eaten.
algorithm, I'm not gonna lie. It knows me better than I know myself. Cool. So you think it's
That's funny. That's
quite important then? Is it something you encourage your students get the hang of and get their hands into?
Yeah, definitely. And again, it comes back to their age and their demographic.
Mm.
So like if you're an older age real estate agent, older demographic, you're gonna want to be on Facebook.
Hmm.
Because Facebook is kind of that OG. It's the
That's
original.
it.
Um, and I don't even know how many. What is there, like 4 billion people on Facebook? I don't even know. It's
Probably more
crazy.
people on Facebook
You
than
know,
there are in the world.
Probably, yeah. It's
Everybody
definitely
has
true.
it. Mm.
Exactly. So, if you're that older demographic, though, most likely your sphere of influence is going to be older, and so from them, they're most likely on Facebook. Now, if you're, let's say, 30 to 50 years old, you're going to be on the Facebook and you're going to be in Instagram. You're probably going to be on both of those. And if you're a teen, you're probably still on Snapchat. I don't think that really resonated with the kind of my generation. And then
Mm.
if you're kind of new, young, hip, upcoming, or want to be, the big fat out here, then you're on TikTok.
Mm.
So for it kind of depends on the person, the personality type, what they may have already built, what their following is, what their sphere of influence is. For us, Instagram and Facebook works great. We capture probably about 95% of our audience just on those two. So, could we do TikTok? Sure. Could we do Snapchat? Sure. But are they going to help us and benefit our business? I don't believe so. And I could be stand corrected one day, and you'll obviously let me know, George. But um, that's kind of what I'm thinking and where we're at
Mm.
in that process.
Yeah. Each social media has its positives and negatives. That is for sure.
Mhm.
I recommend if you're a real estate agent, you focus 90% of your social media strategy on Instagram, whatever demographic you are.
Mhm.
It's just the hottest place for real estate agents because, like you said, you can have this perfect blend of personal life and business because it's a platform where people don't mind if you're a business, but then they super resonate with the life and getting to know the real you, whether they're your friends or not.
Yeah.
They could be potential clients and they just want to see that you are a real person, a nice character, someone that they want to have in their life, and someone who's super, super knowledgeable
Right.
as well.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the name of the game. You know, Instagram does afford you to do a lot of different things on there, from the stories to the reels to the hard post to, kind of everything in there. Because each one of those will resonate with different types of audiences. Some are going to go down that real rabbit hole,
Hmm.
which I've done it. That's why I know I can't get on TikTok, because I know TikTok's on steroids, like Reels on steroids. So I'm like, nope,
Absolutely.
not gonna happen.
Nope. Yeah. Well, with any social media, as long as you are your authentic self and you know what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
people are gonna like that and they're gonna follow you.
1,000% agree.
Cool.
Yeah, gotta have that good message.
Gotta have a good message. Got to. Cool. Um,
Yeah,
let's do one more question from Ask the Public. What do you say?
let's do it.
Let's do it. Um, well, we already covered that one. Which real estate school is the best?
Oh, that's easy. The one I teach for.
I know, right? Will real estate commissions be paid tonight?
Will real estate commissions be
Will
paid
they be
tonight?
paid tonight?
Oh my God.
The poor, the
That
poor real
that's a
estate agents, I
that's a
think, that
serious
are
question.
messaging, asking Google that at 2 a.m. enough times that it's come up on here.
Oh my God. That's crazy, man. I mean, how many brokers are not paying their agents that they have to ask that question?
Good point.
you
That
know,
is that is a good point.
that's a very interesting question. I guess when you're interviewing a brokerage, ask them how you get paid and when
Mm,
you get paid after you close a deal. I've been blessed to work with a lot of brokerages that we get paid at the closing table. They split two checks. One goes to us and our business, and one goes to the brokerage. So we get paid on the same day, which you should. You work hard for your money.
yeah, it's your money.
So
Should
at the
get
end of
paid.
the day, you've completed the transaction. You should get your money.
Mm. All right, I got a new question. This is probably very subjective, and lots of people will have a different answer. But to you, is real estate investing better than investing in stocks?
Oh, great question. All right. So, and I talk about this a lot. And the reason I do is because, so the stock market goes up and down, right? And if you look at like 2008 stock market, what crashed basically just zero.
Mm.
Okay. So with that in mind, if you have investments in there, let's say you've invested $1 million and the stock market goes to zero, how much do you have? You have
No.
$0. Now, you buy a home, okay, and everything crashes, right? That home may not be worth what you paid. Let's call it 250,000. But is that worth something? Yeah,
Mm.
it could be worth 30 grand, it could be worth land value,
Mm.
maybe 50 grand. So, will it be zero? And right now it's no. There's no free land out there, right?
Mm.
There's nowhere you can go in the world that I know of to where they're giving away free land right now. Because if there was, it wouldn't be free because so many people already got it, already scooped it up. So, but what I also say is okay. So the stock market's one thing. You can, big risk, big reward, little risk, little reward. That kind of mindset. But what is the number one thing besides food and water that people need and desire?
Shelter.
It's shelter. Shelter. That's it. It's shelter. Okay, so they need a roof over their head. So if we're looking at it from this standpoint, the stock market, you're only benefiting yourself. When you have real estate, you're benefiting like your whole family,
Mm.
in shelter, protecting you from the climate and the weather and the natural disasters and all that stuff. You're shielding yourself from. But the way I look at it is that, like, even if everything crashes, that shelter over your head is still worth something rather
Mm.
than nothing. So for me, investing in real estate all day long, you know, um, it just makes the most sense, especially being in this business. And I don't just say it because I'm in the business. I say it
Mm.
because it just makes the most financial sense for a lot of people.
Mm.
And if you're renting from someone, guess what you're doing? You're paying that landlord's mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, you know, when you own it, you're paying your own mortgage, you're paying your own taxes, you're paying your own insurance, but you own it. No one else owns it.
Mm.
So I get frustrated with people like, oh, I just want to rent. And I'm like, okay, how much do you rent? 2,500 a month. Okay, so you're spending $30,000 a year to pay for someone else's mortgage. 30 grand. You're giving them 30 grand for you to stay in their house, to where when you move out, you get nothing.
Mm.
I don't know. That's my
Make it
perspective
make
on it.
sense.
And at the end of the day, I really, it just makes the most sense because everyone needs shelter.
Mm. You
They
invest
do.
in stocks and the value goes to zero. All you have is a little piece of paper that you don't even have now. A little piece of paper that says, I own this stock. Nowadays, it's just you own this stock on like trading 212 or whatever. But you buy a
Yeah.
house and somehow the market crashes and the value of this home goes to nothing. You still have a house.
Yep. And you still have the land that that house sits on.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's where that's kind of where my thing is. And I'm not telling people don't invest in the stock market, you know, but the stock market is pretty wonky and it's pretty, it's pretty up and down. And some people are like, well, you can predict it. Yeah, okay,
Mm.
great. You know, like I can predict the winning lottery numbers.
Mm.
It's like, you think you can, but then the next day things shift and you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But if you own a home the next day, barring any natural disaster, what's still there? The home.
Mm.
No
The
matter
home.
the value, you still have a home, like you said. You still have shelter for your family. And that just resonates with me more than throwing money into a stock market, personally.
Beautiful. Beautiful place
Yeah,
to end it
I
today.
I would rather. Yeah, man. Well, I would rather own real estate. Think about it. I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but
Mm.
you know, uh, the richest people in the world, how did they gain their wealth? They
Mm-hmm.
didn't get it from inventing their company. They got it
Mm-hmm.
through real estate. It's just what it is. So, I don't know. I'd rather have the real estate game than hoping Tesla stock goes to 5,000 a share, you know? I
That's
guess
it.
unless you got in Bitcoin when you're really, really young into Bitcoin, then you may have made a ton of money, but
Yeah,
I don't
hindsight
know.
is a wonderful thing. And don't act like you don't know we already spoke about this. You posted a reel like 2 days ago of us
Oh my
talking
God.
about that exact thing.
Listen, I don't even know what I had for breakfast, bro. I really
Yeah,
don't.
it was a long time ago. Well, it's not that long for you.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's the same. No, I guess not.
All right, I'm gonna end the recording.
10-4.